guys! So if you're new to Canada or the United States, you may have already heard words like woke, conservative, leftist, and rightist, but you may not have a clear understanding of what people mean when they refer to an individual or group using any of these words. So the sole purpose of this video is to teach non-native English speakers or people who already live in North America what these words mean in simple and clear English. So I want to make it clear that I personally do not subscribe to any of these political ideologies. And I'm going to do the best I can to present this information in a fair, balanced, and objective way. My objective in this video is to provide a neutral overview of these terms without taking a stance on any of the issues at hand. So are you ready? Let's get started. So to begin, let me give you a quick overview of these two terms. Woke refers to a political and social movement that is a movement that aims to raise awareness about systemic oppression and discrimination based on race, gender, and other factors. Woke people care a lot about fairness and equal treatment for all people, especially those who have been discriminated against in the past. On the other hand, conservatism is a political philosophy that emphasizes traditional values. You may think of woke culture as wanting to change things, and conservatism as wanting to keep things the same. Conservative people tend to want to keep things as they are and to preserve traditions and values. So now that I've given a quick overview of these two terms, let's talk about the issues that are important to both groups. So two common phrases that you might hear woke and conservative people say are pro-life and pro-choice. Woke people are oftentimes pro-choice, and conservative people tend to believe in pro-life. So what does pro-life and pro-choice mean? Well, let's take a look at this definition. Pro-life means that people want to preserve the life of an unborn fetus. Pro-choice is the belief that the woman or the person bearing the child should have the choice to either terminate the pregnancy if they choose to do so. From a woke perspective, the pro-choice stance is framed as a matter of bodily autonomy and reproductive freedom. Many woke activists believe that people should have a choice to control their bodies, and access to legal abortion is one of those ways that people can take control of their own body and choices. They believe that access to safe and legal abortion is one of the ways to protect human rights. They also believe that access to reproductive health care, including abortion, is essential for gender equality and social justice, especially for those from marginalized groups.
I think that by making it illegal, it makes it more dangerous for women in the world. I identify as pro-choice.
I don't believe illegalizing abortion stops it, and therefore I am pro-choice, and I do believe the woman should have the choice, as it gives them more safety.
From a conservative perspective, however, the pro-life stance is rooted in the belief of the sanctity of life and traditional values. Many conservatives see abortion as the taking of an innocent life, and for that reason, they believe abortion should be illegal. They often advocate for laws and regulations that protect the rights of the unborn child, and they may support alternatives to abortion, such as adoption.
We are absolutely destroying God's creation when we have an abortion. It's sad.
What should happen to these children that are born?
It's adoption.
But adoption is a great choice instead of abortion.
What do you call it? Pro-life. It's a life you're taking. Like it's really considered murder.
Another important issue that is talked about by woke and conservative groups is body positivity. From a woke perspective, body positivity is all about embracing and celebrating people of different shapes, sizes, and abilities. Woke activists argue that media often promotes a standard of beauty that is harmful to a lot of people. They believe that everyone should feel beautiful and confident in their own skin. And for that reason, they do not support media that is exclusionary. They may also emphasize that self-love and self-acceptance are essential for mental health and well-being.
The diet industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry that profits from your failure. Fat is a neutral word. Weight loss is not small talk. Calories are also not small talk. It's okay if your tummy shows because your tummy is cute. Did you need a diet or did you need a therapist? You know everybody has cellulite, right? My fat body has not affected people's ability to love me.
However, from a conservative perspective, the body positivity movement can be seen as something that promotes unhealthy behaviors and a disregard for physical fitness. They may argue that individuals should take personal responsibility for their bodies and that promoting being overweight or obese can lead to serious health consequences in the future. They may also believe that promoting traditional beauty standards is important for maintaining cultural values as well as social order.
At the moment, obesity is a huge problem in terms of death rates. So we can't ignore that fact.
Another important issue is toxic masculinity. From a woke perspective, toxic masculinity refers to harmful behaviors and beliefs associated with traditional masculinity. This includes aggression, emotional repression, and dominance. Woke activists believe that these behaviors can be harmful to men themselves, as well as to women and other groups. Woke activists may choose to promote empathy, vulnerability, and emotional intelligence instead.
About toxic masculinity, that's not a made-up thing. It's not a myth. The preponderance of those kinds of cues are devastating.
I thought of it like that. Yeah, actually, racism is pretty stupid. I got to think about these things. I got to figure that out. Oh, yeah, actually, why do we have toxic masculinity as men? This is holding us back.
Well, this is just toxic masculinity in action.
From a conservative perspective, however, toxic masculinity may appear a distortion of traditional values associated with masculinity. They may argue that men are naturally inclined to be competitive and assertive, and they may believe that society should support these values in men as a way of bettering society. Some conservatives may see criticism of traditional masculinity as an attack on men.
Toxic masculinity is one of these interesting terms that I feel really just pathologizes masculinity and also pathologizes healthy male sexuality. I think it's really unfortunate that, male typical traits and behaviors are seen as so threatening or so offensive nowadays. I don't know why that is.
Now, another issue that you may have heard discussed by conservatives and woke individuals is the gender binary. This may be a very confusing concept if you are new to North America and if English is not your first language. So from a woke perspective, the traditional view that there are only two genders, male and female, is highly problematic. Woke individuals do not believe that individuals have to fit into either of these two categories based on the sex they are assigned at birth. Woke activists believe this binary is exclusionary and limiting. They believe that gender is a social construct that can vary across individuals and cultures. They may also emphasize the importance in validating and respecting those who do not have traditional gender identities or those who do not fulfill traditional gender roles.
A family can be made up in many different ways.
Is that there are gay kids and there are trans kids and there are trans parents and gay parents in our society.
We are in a new dawn of gender and sex complexity, where those who don't fit into a simple binary are meant to be seen with humanity.
These polyamorous parents let their children choose their gender.
Because the pronouns she and he did not fit, non-binary was what I turned to.
From a conservative perspective, however, the gender binary can be seen as a natural and necessary part of human biology, as well as social organization. They may argue that the traditional values and roles assigned to males and females, or men and women, have been developed over centuries and contribute to the prosperity and stability of a society. Some conservatives may view challenges to the gender binary as something that leads to instability and confusion.
Well, I believe in gender, and to deny that there's a difference, to say gender is over, is radical stuff that should not be taught to third graders. That's dangerous. And if you extrapolate and continue on, then it leads to to gender-neutral bathrooms, which they're doing at the school district next to us, and they're doing that throughout the country, and gender-neutral bathrooms and locker rooms, and that's just not safe. That is a dangerous situation to keep them combined in the same space.
Those beautiful qualities that make young girls, beautiful girls and women, are being basically vilified. The things that make our boys boys are being, taken from them.
Now, another phrase that may be confusing to ESL speakers who have just arrived to North America is the idea of cancel culture. From a woke perspective, cancel culture involves calling out or holding groups or individuals accountable for the harmful things that they say and do. Woke activists believe that this is an important way to promote equality and respect among individuals in society. They may also emphasize that cancel culture is a way to give a voice to marginalized groups who may have not had a previous opportunity to speak out against oppression.
Start with where I think most people across the cancel culture spectrum would agree. I think most good folks would agree that there should be consequences when someone makes a serious moral error.
But cancel culture in the bigger society is when a person in prominence says or does something that we, the people, disagree with.
From a conservative perspective, however, cancel culture may be seen as an attack on free speech and individual rights. They may argue that individuals are being unfairly punished or silenced for expressing their beliefs and opinions. They may also argue that this creates a culture of fear and intolerance of different perspectives. Some conservatives may also see cancel culture as something that promotes mob rule, which involves individuals being called out without due process or fair assessment of what has been said.
And truth, that is being disabled by cancel culture, by the attempt to snuff out unpopular beliefs in newspapers, in university campus.
Thinks that despite the rise of cancel culture, most Americans still understand the value of free speech, but they need to be encouraged to stand up for it.
Now, another idea that may be new to ESL learners who have just arrived in North America is the idea of cultural appropriation. So it's very important to know that some things that you may have seen in your own country, or some things that are considered appropriate in your home country, are considered very offensive in North America. So cultural appropriation involves someone using aspects of a culture that they do not belong to. Let me give you an example. As a Caucasian woman, if I were to dress in a Halloween costume like this or this, woke individuals may consider that a form of cultural appropriation because I do not belong to this culture or this culture. This may be considered a form of cultural appropriation because as a white woman, I may not have a right to dress like a Native American woman or a Japanese woman. So from a woke perspective, cultural appropriation involves the using of aspects of a culture that is not one's own, often without understanding of its significance and importance for that society. Woke activists believe that cultural appropriation leads to disrespect and a disregard for marginalized groups. They may also believe that it promotes a continuation of exploitation and a history of oppression. They may also emphasize the importance of celebrating and respecting diverse cultures, while also being mindful of power imbalances and histories of cultural exchange.
We know cultural appropriation is bad. And when we think of bad cultural appropriation, we think of what? White girls wearing Native American costumes for Halloween.
Cultural appropriation and extraction from their cultures, and have been doing a lot of work to address this.
Hair in the 18th century, and also a bit about the issue of cultural appropriation.
From a conservative perspective, however, people who believe that cultural appropriation should be stopped are people who restrict individuals' freedom and creativity. They may believe that cultural borrowing and exchange have been an important part of human history, and that efforts to regulate or police cultural exchange are misguided and actually harmful. Some conservatives may also believe that a criticism of cultural appropriation is an attack on free speech and a way to limit individual freedom.
This cultural appropriation. This is one of the new ideas that, if at some level, a lot of this there's a kernel of wisdom that, you don't put on blackface.
So I've just gone over 6 important ideas or topics that woke people and conservative people discuss a lot of the time. Now let's talk about some words that these people use, or labels or names that these two groups use to refer to themselves or to each other. So if you're an ESL speaker new to North America, you may see the phrase social justice warrior when you're reading anything on the internet. Conservatives tend to call people social justice warriors when they believe that these individuals are overly concerned with political correctness as well as social justice issues. On the other hand, woke people may refer to conservatives as bigots, sexists, or racists. Woke people tend to view these people as having values that are discriminatory. Now, I want to repeat that I personally do not subscribe to either of these views. I respect both perspectives and think that everyone should keep an open mind and be respectful of others' opinions. Now, I know to some of you, my viewers, these ideas may seem a little bit confusing or different from what's going on in your home country. So what I'd like you to do is write in the comments below which group has ideas that are closer to your own perspective. And if there was anything that was very new to you or very confusing to you, let me know in the comments as well. So I hope you found this video informative. I hope I taught you some things and helped you clarify some things that you may have seen on the internet or that you've heard native English speakers say. So that's it for now. If you haven't done so already, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you've enjoyed watching this video, please hit the like button and share it with anyone who may find it useful. I'll see you next week.